Am I the idiot for breaking up my engagement because of what my fiancé said about my mom? I, female 26, am not from the USA, so I might have some grammatical errors. So, my dad left my mom and I when I was only 5 years old. I also have a brother, 21 male. He left the country with his mistress and never tried to contact. We were really poor. My mom had to do some immoral stuff to get food on the table. She was a stripper and also sometimes pleased men to get money for us. She put me and my brother through school. I understood why my mom did what she did because we had no money, and she wanted us to have a life better than ours. And I am not ashamed because of it. I also started working part-time when I was 14. I was a good student, so I got a scholarship to a good university. My mom eventually stopped stripping when my brother got a part-time job too. She now only works as a waitress. I met my fiancé, Javi, male 27, in college. This was my first serious relationship. We both loved each other. I never told Javi about my mom's past because my mom made me promise to never say that to anyone. I kept that, but it felt so wrong to keep this huge information away from my fiancé. Javi knew about us. He only knew that my family was extremely poor. He doesn't care about that. He is a very sweet guy who always takes care of me. He even covered some of the cost of my brother's education as well, even though I told him not to. My mom also likes him. That's why she told me not to tell Javi anything about her past or what she did for a living. So, a week ago, my mom and I went to Javi's house to meet his parents. I didn't realize his uncle and aunt would also be there. Upon seeing his uncle, my mom's face went white as if she saw a ghost. His uncle also kept staring at my mom as if he knew her. My mom felt uncomfortable and said that she wants to go home. Javi was confused by it. But nonetheless, we left earlier than we anticipated. The next day, my fiancé came to our place and shouted at me that I lied to him. He said that I am a gold digger just like my mother, and my mother is the reason why his uncle's first marriage broke. I asked him to explain what the hell he was talking about. He said that his uncle knew my mom because he was a regular customer of her and often hired her for her services. His wife caught them red-handed and immediately filed for divorce. My mom was crying and said that she didn't know he was married. She never asks men about their marital status. I told him that he has no right to speak to my mom like that, and his uncle was fully to blame because he was a married man who was hiring escorts for himself. My mom has no obligation towards his marriage. Javi still blamed me and mom and said that he felt deceived. He said to my face that he doesn't want to date a whore's daughter, because I will probably invite men just like my mom. My mom had to beg him to not break the engagement. I am tired. If I do end up marrying him, my mom would always have to suffer because of it. I didn't want that, so I gave him back his engagement ring and told him to never show his face. My mom is angry because she thinks this is my only chance to get married because no other guy would marry into a family where the mom works as a sex worker. But I think I did the right thing because I am not ashamed of my mom. I didn't even want to hide it in the first place. I wanted to tell him the truth, but my mom refused it. So, am I the idiot? Edit, I need to clear things out a bit. Javi knows everything about my life. He knows my dad fled the country, and we had to live in poverty because of it. He knows my mom got pregnant way too young. I did give him hints that my mom had to do shady things to get by. He probably thought my mom stole things. But I didn't disclose that she was a sex worker. I wanted to tell him, but my mom said not to because she doesn't want this to escalate. Also, I never asked Javi to pay for my brother's education. He did it from the goodwill of his heart. I promised to pay him back. I am not after his money. I do love him a lot. Even though we are broken up now, I still miss him. We have been together for 6 years. It is not easy to throw away those 6 years just like that. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. But boy, your ex sure is. You dodged a bullet getting rid of him. You will find the right person for you. Give your mom a hug and be happy you aren't marrying into that awful family. Then the original poster responded with, I know that. And I understand why he is upset. Sex work is heavily criticized in my country to the point even doctors refuses to treat them. I understand his family's stigma, especially because his uncle was caught with my mom. So, they have a reason to hate her. I hope that he would be a little bit understanding about our situation. If my mom didn't start working as a stripper, she would have never been able to send us to school or college. I did love him a lot. Comment 2. If a man on a diet walks into a donut shop and orders a dozen donuts, who broke the diet, the man or the donut seller? His uncle went to her. His uncle knew about his wife. His uncle also outed her to your fiancé, who was too thick in the head to stop and say, wait, why does uncle know that, not the idiot? You will find someone who understands and will appreciate the sacrifice your mother made to keep you and your brother alive. Then the original poster responded with, Javi knows what his uncle did. His uncle had sex addiction, so he hired mom often. I am sure my mom is not the only escort he hired. There were many. But I don't think my mom should be blamed for his uncle's mistake. She is required to give services to anyone who hires her. Now for the update. Hi everyone. I wanted to say thank you so much for your support. I never thought I would get so much support from strangers than people from my own community. I was, however, expecting a lot of hate towards my mom considering her profession, but it is less than what I expected. I don't know if this qualifies as a proper update, but there have been few changes. After I broke the engagement, I have been getting calls from my friends and Javi's family that I am making a huge mistake. My close friends know that my mom used to be a sex worker, but mutual friends of mine and Javi do not know about it. So, they are also questioning me if I ever did that. Javi did apologize. He said he got carried away by his emotions and he loves me. NGL, I love him too. I wanted to get past all of this. I know people have told me that I should not get married to this guy. But I was weak for a moment. Until he told me that he is willing to let things go and start anew if my mom does not attend any wedding functions. I was shocked. Weddings are a big deal in our culture. There are many functions and parties surrounding the wedding. How can he ask that I not involve my mom? He told me that because of my mom's past it would be difficult for his family members to be around her. He convinced his mom with difficulty about this engagement. Also, since his uncle is going to be there, it will only remind him of bad things. At that moment I realized that I was never a consideration. It was always him and making his family happy. My family is beneath them because we are not from a respectable background and come from homes of sex workers. I stood firm and told him no, it is not going to happen. I will not give in to their demands because the way I see it, my mom did not do anything wrong. It is funny how quickly people will judge a woman based on her work that she had to do to feed her kids, but no one will come forward to help her in time of her need. Javi threatened that I am making a huge mistake by letting him go. I just left. I do not have the energy to deal with it. I think this news is spreading like wildfire now. I may have to move out of the city because if this news reaches my workplace I know damn well people will ostracize me. So, I might look for a job in a different area. Lastly, I messaged him saying I am sorry for not telling him earlier about my mom, but I loved him a lot. I am sad that he chose this topic to ruin a 6-year-old relationship. I will be going to the bank and pay back the money he paid for my brother's education. I am still crying and jilted to say the least. Also, I saw that my post was shared in different religious groups bashing my mom, saying that I deserved it. Well, let me tell you religious fanatics that most men who claim to be religious are not at all. My mom had many clients who claim to be religious, including pastors and preachers. So please, before blaming my mom, look inside your house and your family. You might find chameleons hiding within your family too. Edit. People who are asking why I am paying him back, it is because I don't want him to use it as an excuse to call me a gold digger who used him for his money. I don't want to be in his debt. Comment 1. So why is his uncle allowed to be there? He cheated on his marriage and he gets off scot-free, but your mom is a villain? Make it make sense. Comment 2. You're the idiot. You misled Javi, kept him in the dark about something that could directly affect him and his family's dynamics. You may not see your mother's past as a big deal, but clearly, it had significant implications for his family. He was harsh in his reaction, no doubt, but he felt deceived, and his feelings are valid. He even offered you a solution to move past this, by asking your mom not to attend the wedding, which is reasonable given the circumstances and the hurt your mother indirectly caused to his family. You are choosing your past over your future and refusing to compromise in an extremely complex situation. Sometimes, we have to make tough choices to save relationships. Not to mention, you're completely absolving your mother from any responsibility. Javi has a right to know the truth about his future family. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not wanting to live with brother-in-law anymore? My husband, male 32, and I have been married for 2 years. His dad and stepmom are going through an ugly divorce, so his half-brother, male 17, has moved in with us to live for a year till he starts college. My husband loves his brother, treats him like a little kid and is overprotective of him. I find brother-in-law's behavior obnoxious, and we are having too many arguments over this. He's been with us for only a month and a half and I can't stand it, and I really don't think I can put up with it for a year. It started off with him making messes and throwing away leftovers. Since I do most of the cooking and cleaning, it was increasing my workload. My husband's list of chores have not increased by his presence, so he was dismissive of my complaints. Since my husband wasn't saying anything, I tried telling him to pick up after himself. Brother-in-law retaliated by spanking my butt. Anytime I tell him to do something, he hits my butt hard and laughs. Husband told him to knock it off, but he keeps doing it, and husband treats it as if he's just playing around, no big deal. Not only is it very disrespectful, but it's really painful. After that, he started randomly picking me up and carrying me around. I am a little over 5 feet and 120 pounds and he's a tall, stocky guy. I hate it, and my husband just thinks he's goofing around and trying to be friends with me. I work from home, and the other day when it was just him and me in the house, he picked me up and ran with me to my bedroom and threw me on the bed. It really scared me, but he just laughed at me and left. Husband thinks I am being dramatic by being scared by this. I feel like his behavior is escalating, but my husband tells me to act like an adult and not blow up over a kid's playfulness. I am anxious every day and I am seriously thinking of moving out, though it'll be difficult to afford it. Am I the idiot for telling my husband that I don't feel safe in our home? ETA. Thank you so much for your comments and validating me. My husband had me confused and believing that I was overreacting. I am so relieved to hear from so many people that this is as dangerous and bad as I feel. I have packed a bag in my car and some important belongings and documents. I am female 29, for those who asked. I forgot to put that in my post. I called and talked to mother-in-law early in the morning. She's always been very nice to me, and at my wedding she told me she thinks of me as her daughter. My mom passed away when I was young and I don't have any siblings, so that has moved me very much. I was nervous about talking to her because I didn't want to ruin that relationship, but she was so shocked when she heard the details. She said she talked to my husband and father-in-law and this was an unacceptable situation and told me to come stay with her till it got resolved. Brother-in-law is out with his friends till tomorrow for 4th of July, so it gives me some time to have one more detailed discussion with my husband. I am also going to show him this Reddit post and hopefully his mom's talk, and these comments will be a wake-up call. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Put your foot down. No. You are still nearly newlyweds, and your marriage is important. Have another sterner talk to your husband about how it's impacting you. Ultimately, it's up to you, but if my husband dismissed my feelings and concerns for someone else who isn't his child, it would raise a red flag for me. 17 years old is not a kid in regards to behavior. This teen is pushing you and laughing that your husband is on his side more than yours. It comes across as juvenile dominance behavior. Comment 2. I understand the parents are divorcing, but why does that mean that neither one can parent their kid? I don't know any divorced parents who unloaded their children on a third party when they divorced. Then the original poster responded with, they are selling their house and film is in an apartment, and Steppenmeil is currently staying with her sister. Brother-in-law chose to stay with us because it's close to his current school. It seemed okay for him to live with us for a year, and though I knew he was quite spoiled, I wasn't expecting this. Now for the update. I am very appreciative of everyone who commented on my last post and gave me encouragement. I won't be able to respond at all, but I appreciate it. I wasn't able to resolve this issue with my husband and I have moved out. I am trying to come to terms with the fact that this is the end of my marriage. My mother-in-law was on my side and talked to my husband about this situation, but he got more annoyed with me because he saw this as me creating more drama between mother-in-law and father-in-law and causing old grievances to rise. I showed him the Reddit post I made in the comments, and he accused me of presenting things in a lurid manner to get people on my side. He didn't even read all the discussions, just got enraged and closed the tab. Mother-in-law also talked to father-in-law, who came down on brother-in-law about his behavior. Father-in-law told brother-in-law to leave our house and move in with him. Brother-in-law refused, saying he wants to stay with my husband. My husband came up with the solution that brother-in-law was to stay in his room and I should stay in my bedroom, lock the door, and not get out till he got home from work. This pissed me off more. I had packed a bag and my documents thinking of leaving anyway. Father-in-law talked to me and said that he doesn't like that we aren't getting along and brother-in-law will no longer stay with us. But the next day brother-in-law came into the house with a group of his friends. I simply grabbed my laptop and left. I am so grateful to the people who had suggested that I be packed and ready to go. I already had everything in my car and could leave with what I needed immediately. I am staying with mother-in-law now. She is flabbergasted by my husband, who's told her that he'll never ask a close family member to leave his house. It is clear that my husband doesn't even like me, much less care about me at all. He hasn't spoken to me since I left. I am trying to figure out what I should do next. I obviously can't stay with mother-in-law for long, especially since I need to start the divorce process. I could move back in with my dad, but he lives in another state, and that'll make things hard. I don't have any savings and I am short on money. The majority of my paycheck goes into half of the mortgage and utilities on our house. We have a combined joint account. I have been foolishly spending a lot on decorating the house instead of saving up, and I suppose all that is gone now. I need to figure out my money situation so I can support myself. Comment 1. Thanks for the update. I'm glad you didn't let this situation go on any longer, and that you had the courage to get out of the marriage when you realized you had a husband problem. You're young and you have a new and better beginning ahead of you. I like your parents-in-law. How did they raise such crappy sons? Then the original poster responded with, mother-in-law has been amazing. but she didn't raise brother-in-law. That's the father-in-law's son from his second marriage. And father-in-law, well, I think it's good that he told brother-in-law to leave, but he was dismissive of the issue itself, acting like it was a bit of a spat between us. Comment 2. Glad you left? Make sure you get a new bank account and don't put your paycheck into the joint one anymore. Your soon-to-be ex-husband can pay the mortgage and the bills. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.